SC15. I raised by 25.
All in.
All in. Oh, hey, how's it going? Hi, my name is Ken.
My name is Jason.
And today we're reviewing
Vegas Showdown. So Vegas Showdown was originally published in 2005 by Avalon Hill. It actually won a couple of awards, but then it just kind of faded into obscurity. And there actually is an online play version available too.
So in Vegas Showdown, you and the other players are competing with each other. You're a bunch of multi-billionaires, I should say, that are just bored and have nothing better to do with their time than compete with each other by trying to make the most prestigious hotel/casino in all of Las Vegas. Players compete for resources and fame, and the person with the most fame at the end of the game wins. First, I'm going to go over the components of Vegas Showdown. First, we have the main board. Next, we have the building reference and prerequisite charts. We also have 5 player boards. The player boards come with color-coordinated tokens to mark various things. There are also tiles. There are 2 sets of tiles. There's the premier tiles, which are the red ones, and the standard tiles, which are the green ones. The green ones will be available all throughout the game, whereas the premier ones will be available at different times during the games at random points. As you can see, there are actually 2 types of each different type of premier tile. There's the A and B. You'll be receiving the A tiles before you have access to the B tiles, generally speaking. There's also a deck of event cards that will actually change the way the game is played through the course of the game. Vegas Showdown uses poker chips to actually denote how much money each player has in the order of white, red, and green in terms of the worth of the chips. And last, the game has a couple various cardboard and plastic bits just to denote various things. This is the turn order button that helps to determine the starting player. These are no bid tokens, which mean that tiles these are placed beside are not allowed to be bid on this round. And these red ones determine the maximum bid of the actual tiles. To set up Vegas Showdown, first place the main board in the center of the table. Each player then chooses their hotel color, and then the players take their associated tokens. So Jason, what kind of color do you want to play today?
I think I'll be red.
Red? Alright, I'm going to take green. I'm always green. Once the players have retrieved their tokens, first they place their population marker at 8. They place their revenue marker at 5. The players place their fame markers at the 0 point on the main board. And they make sure that their bid tokens are placed nearby their sheet. The game requires you to designate a banker. So, Jason, do you want to be the banker? Should I be the banker?
I can be the banker.
Alright, good. In this game, the banker has control of the money chips.
Ah, the power. Yeah.
Uh-oh, what have we done? The chips are then actually placed in front of the banker for ease of distribution. The banker then deals out $20 worth of chips to each player. Like such. Now we have to set up the main board. All the tiles with green backs are actually just standard tiles, so follow me along here. Place all the standard slots here, place the standard lounges here, and all the standard restaurants here. Next you need to set up the premier tiles beside the board. As I previously mentioned, the premier tiles are all split up into A's and B's. In order to set up the premier tiles next to the board, first you have to separate the A's all from the B's. Once the A piles are all split from the B piles, first set all the B piles next to the board, make sure to shuffle them before you place them, and then place the A piles on top of the B piles, like such. To set up the starting tiles on the board, you must reveal 1 tile off the top of each of the premier stacks, and place them on the board like such. If you're playing with 4 to 5 players, you will eventually be using this section of the board soon. However, if you're only playing with 2 or 3 players, you can just place a no-bid token here, just to make sure that you remember that you're not supposed to use this section of the board. Once these premier tiles are all placed in the appropriate positions, you then must place the minimum bid tokens in the appropriate locations for them. These are the minimum bids required to bid on these locations. Make sure that the building prerequisite charts are handy to each player. Then you must randomly determine the starting player. To stay in the spirit of this game, I would suggest a rousing round of poker, blackjack, or craps, but a random dice roll would work as well. Alright, to determine who goes first, we're going to play a little round of blackjack. Alright, Jason, you first.
Hit me.
I'm going to take a card. I bust. Because Jason won the game of blackjack, he'll be going first. And now you are ready to play. There are 6 phases in a turn in Vegas Showdown. First, there's the drop prices phase, the flip new tiles phase, if needed, collect income, choose actions, adjust fame, revenue, and population, and finally the pass turn order button left. Phase 1, drop prices, is performed by the starting player. On the first turn, this is actually skipped because everything is set to the default values. Past the first turn, the starting player is supposed to move the minimum bid markers from the premier tiles on the board down 2 spaces. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. In reality, the red marker is actually moving just 1 step down this red track here. The reason why there's actually a secondary number up here is so that you can have more variation in the numbers you have in which to bid on later in the turn. If the minimum bid marker were, say, to be moved past the 3 space, this would mean that the tile is discarded and a new tile is going to be drawn. On the second phase, flip new tiles, if there are any empty spaces aside from this one here, if you're not playing 4 or 5 players, you must draw a card from the event deck. When you draw a card from the event deck, the first thing that needs to be done is the action it says. So in this particular case, it says move the minimum bid marker for each premier tile to the next lower circular space. So in this case, I would have to put this here and this here. Next, you must replace the tile based on the icon noted here. So in this case, I would be flipping a 4-spot premier tile, which would result in a nightclub. That card is then discarded. You must then continue this step for each empty space here, except for this one, unless you are playing a 4 to 5 player game. If you are playing a 4 to 5 player game, you actually do fill this space by flipping an event card on the very first turn. The next phase is the collect income phase. The banker gives each player the amount of income listed on their sheet, so everybody is going to be starting the game at 5. The banker gives everybody 5. It should be noted, however, though, that you cannot actually hide how much money you have. This is supposed to be common knowledge for all players. The fourth phase is the choose actions phase. There are 3 different actions you can take. The 3 actions are bid on tiles, renovate, or publicity, which I will explain in detail in a moment. When you get to phase 5, you then adjust your fame, your population, and your revenue as appropriate for anything you have acquired or lost. You must also retrieve your bid marker from the board at this time. Finally, the starting player button moves on to the next player, and then you repeat the rounds again. So to explain the bid on tiles action, when you declare this action, you place your bid marker on the bid track of the tile you are bidding on. You must bid the minimum bid or greater. However, you can also not bid any greater than the current money that you hold. Because turns are resolved clockwise, if the turn order comes back around to you and you have been outbid in this phase, you can then choose to take another action. You can either bid again, or you can choose to take the renovate or publicity actions. There's no limit to the amount of people who can take the renovate or publicity actions, so it is okay to take those if you are completely outbid on all things that you would possibly be able to take. If your bid is successful after all players have declared their bids, you must place the tile in your casino following tile placement rules, or keep it off to the side for later. There is no limit to the amount of tiles you can actually keep on the side of the board. Note that slots has 2 bid tracks. One is used in the 5-player game, and both tracks are used independently of each other in that point. The second type of action you can take is the renovate action. When you declare this action, you have to place your bid marker on the renovate spot. You may take 0 to 2 tiles off of your casino and place 0 to 2 tiles back on your casino board. These do not have to be the same number. You could in theory take no tiles off of your board and place 2 back upon it. Alternatively, you could take 2 off your board and place none back. Your placement of tiles does have to follow tiles placement rules, which I will return to in a moment. The final action you can take is the publicity action. When you declare this action, you place your bid marker on the publicity spot, and when you do, you immediately gain 1 fame. You may also place a tile on your casino that you have previously purchased, again following all tile placement rules. Next, I'd like to go over the parts of the actual tiles. First, we have the name of the tile. Next, we have the minimum bid amount, which is the value in the red circle here. Next, we have the stats, which are revenue, population, and fame. You'll already be familiar with these symbols because they are the exact same as the ones you have on your board. During Phase 5, when you must adjust your values, it is these values here that you are adjusting upon. So if you have acquired something through other means, you adjust it usually immediately unless it says otherwise. Next, I'd like to go over the parts of the event cards. The event card has a name, which should be red. It has an effect, which should be done first. So in this case, it says move the minimum bid marker for all premier tiles to the next lower circular space. And it has a tile placement rule. I've placed out these 3 event cards so you can see the differences between the tile placement icons here. They literally just correspond to the premier tile stacks over there. Okay, now on to tile placement rules. You may want to refer to your building prerequisites chart for these. All prerequisites for building any particular tile are noted with the white arrow leading from one tile to another. To place a tile, you must have all the prerequisite tiles somewhere in your hotel already. Though you can place tiles anywhere on your hotel, you must be able to draw an unbroken path from the yellow casino entrance to any yellow tile you place. An example, if I place the slots here in the blue hotel section, then I cannot draw any line from the casino to that point. However, if I were to place that tile with a line such as this, with the lounges leading right back into my casino, this would then be a valid location. This would also be valid, and here, etc. Likewise, you must also be able to draw a line between any blue tile you place and the blue section of your board. And you must also be able to draw a direct line to any green tile you place from either entrance of your board. Some tiles actually have these little red corners on them and little red arrows. These are actually little patterns that you get for having more advanced tiles. If you can actually create a combination of these tiles together so you can create a sort of pattern in the middle there, you actually get bonus points for this at the end of the game. Lastly, the game ends immediately when a player fills their casino, or you go to replace a premier tile but can draw no more. When you go to score the game finally, you should refer to the building prerequisites chart to show you how the bonus fame works from different goals and achievements you can get throughout the game. And then simply the person with the highest fame wins the game. You are the most successful casino owner. Alright, so since Jason won the rousing game of blackjack that we were playing earlier, he is going to be the first player. So, Jason, take it away.
Alright, so I don't have to drop prices because this is the first turn and we skip that, and I also don't have to flip any new tiles. Next, we collect income, so everyone gets 5. So
yep.
I take 1.
And I take 1 as well.
Now we start with the player actions, and I get to go first. I'm going to start by bidding on slots.
Okay. I'm going to start by bidding on a lounge.
Alright, because there are no outbids in this case, we each simply get to purchase the tiles that we had bid on for the price that we'd chosen. So I pay 5 and get a slots.
I pay 9 and get a lounge.
I choose to place my slots here.
And I choose to place my lounge over here.
Next, we adjust fame, revenue, and population. Now, in my case, I have gained 1 revenue, so I move up to 6.
In my case, I gain 2 fame, so I adjust my fame up to 2.
And finally, we pass the turn order button to the left.
Alright, as you can see, we're a few more turns in. I'm the starting player right now. First what I have to do is drop prices. So to the sports book. Next I need to flip new tiles. So I draw and resolve an event card for this one here. Good relationships. To outbid another player this turn, a player must outbid him or her by at least 2 spaces on the bidding track. So we'll keep this on to the side to remember this. The card means that we draw a large 2x2 token, which is going to result in another sports book. And next we draw another event card for this one here, which is another good relations. So as I already said, we must outbid someone by 2 spaces on a track now. And this brings up another large card. So the third step is collect income. My income is now sitting at 9.
And so is mine.
Okay, well I guess we're both taking 9. As for choosing player actions, I'm going to choose to bid on this sports book.
In order to make things harder for Kenny, I'm going to bid on this sports book. And again, I have to bid 2 higher because of good relations.
When it comes back to my turn, I then get to remove my token because I've been outbid, and I get to choose another tile. Well, I guess I'm going to take this sports book for 25. So, back around to Jason.
Now, because neither of us have been outbid at this point, again, we just simply pay for whatever we have bid on, and we get those tiles.
So, 25. Sports books.
We then each adjust our revenue up to.
And we haven't gained any further fame or population. Next, the turn button passes, and we start again. So, in review. This game is actually one that me and Jason used to play a lot a long time ago, like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, and we honestly have only just cracked this game open for this review. We haven't played it really recently, but this is fun. It's a great game. It actually holds a lot of nostalgia for us.
Well, yeah, it's kind of we were playing it during the time when I was kind of infatuated with SimCity, and it's like Sim Casino. It's
Absolutely.
a lot of fun there, and plus it's a very cheap game, really. It's inexpensive, and you get quite a few bits in it, which is kind of nice.
Absolutely. One of the things I really like about this game, and something that's always kind of intrigued me, and this is like when we were playing games originally, we were mostly playing Avalon Hill games, I think, when we first started off with board games.
Pretty much.
And it sort of evolved from there, but it just intrigued me that the game rewards you, like with the red diamonds, rewards you for having style in your casino. That's cool. Like, I really like that. Mm-hmm. It's a nice little flair. Good touch.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, of course, and this is kind of a broken record thing at this point, but
yeah, for us, for sure.
Avalon Hill, again, did not ever expand this. It could have been expanded pretty easily.
Very easily.
I mean, it's the kind of game that does stand alone pretty well, but still, I'd like a little bit of support from them, and they don't really seem to support anything except Axis and Allies.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Axis and Allies. All right, so let's finish this off here. What would you say, Jay? What would you give this?
I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
I mean, it's a good game. It's not a great game, but it's definitely a good game, and the nostalgia factor. So.
It does get points for nostalgia for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I would actually like to give this game more points, but one of the things that always kind of bugged me about it, the expansions notwithstanding, of course, is the fact that it's a small game. It's pretty simple, but I don't know. I always felt that the games of Vegas Showdown we always had in the past, like, they just kind of drag on for a long time.
They can, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and so it loses a little bit of points in my book for that. But aside from that, it's a great game. Again, like we said, we haven't cracked this box open in years, so this was kind of a fun time for us. But you should really give this one a shot. It's definitely worth your time.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's going to give us a grand total of 8 meeples.
So that's all for today. Join us next time for Battlestar Galactica, the board game.
See you later, and have good games.